The title of the webinar today is Harnessing Your Factory Data for a Competitive Advantage. First of all, thank you for attending this webinar. My name is Jeremy Leffman, Executive Director of the Minnesota State Advanced Manufacturing Center of Excellence. My team and I are excited to host this webinar with two seasoned experts in the world of manufacturing. A bit about the professionals. So Vivek Saxena is a seasoned manufacturing expert and the CEO of FactoryTwin. Our other presenter is Eric Nolan, who is the Vice President of G-Force Manufacturing.
Can you describe for our audience what your factory does?
Absolutely. So G-Force Manufacturing, we're a division of Goodwill Southeast Georgia. Our mission is to help people with barriers to employment. So we focus on people that are returning from incarceration and just help them give a good experience in aerospace manufacturing. So at G-Force Manufacturing, we are a component manufacturer for the aerospace industry. We're AS9100 certified, and we make parts for business jets in the Savannah area. And we're looking to grow to also supply commercial airplanes as well as military applications is kind of where we're headed next.
Can you maybe just touch upon your growth goals and what prompted you to start looking into factory analytics as a tool?
For sure. Yeah. So we've grown a good bit. I've been with the company for about 3.5 years, and we've gone from about a $4.5-5 million operation to now at about $10 million. But we're looking to grow exponentially. So we're looking at 20 to 30 million in the next 5 or 6 years. So kind of what got me into the data analytics, I actually heard Vivek speak at an Aviation Week conference back in 2022. And I actually found my note from that conference. Vivek said, and the data may have changed, I doubt it has, but Vivek said that 13% of factory data is utilized. And that stuck with me. I wrote it down and I brought that information back to our team at G-Force, and it's the truth. I mean, we spend a lot of time and a lot of money collecting data, but are we using that data to make decisions? If we're not, how are we collecting the data? But nevertheless, we do collect a lot of data, and it's being unutilized. It's wasted. Data is not free. It costs money. It costs money to input it. It costs money to collect it. So it's a waste otherwise. So, and our goal is we want to be able to make good decisions quickly based on data. Anybody can make a fast decision, and maybe it turns out, maybe it doesn't. And anybody can take a long time collecting all the required information to make the best decision. But then by the time you make the decision, it might be too late. So we're looking to grow our operations. We don't want to significantly increase our overhead. So we need the tools to be able to make good decisions quickly. And that's where data analytics comes into play.
So as you're looking into factory data analytics, let's say go back a year or so, you're looking at various alternatives. And how did what did you consider? What were the criteria for selecting a solution?
Yeah, sure thing. So we actually we're down the path, working with our internal IT team, which at G-Force we don't have our own IT folks. We share. It's a shared resource across Goodwill in Southeast Georgia. So we were just eating their time trying to create these Power BI dashboards to give us the data that we were looking for operator performance. How are we keeping up with our daily production goals, those sorts of things. And it's all information that's collected. It's all within our ERP system. But we had no good way to pull it out. And we were meeting several times a month and really just not getting very far in getting something useful with these Power BI dashboards. And then there's also larger companies like Siemens, et cetera, that have digital twin software, but not necessarily marketed towards smaller manufacturers like us.
As you were thinking about comparing this with what we ended up doing with you, in terms of requirements, affordability, practicality, user friendliness, were you grading all the options on all those criteria, or are they?
We needed a solution for what we were trying to do on our own, and FactoryTwin was able to meet that need with dashboarding within their software. But we also know that, you know, if we're going to grow as an organization, we need to be able to be smarter and faster, and that's where the rest of the modules come in through FactoryTwin.
How long did it take to implement the software? And, you know, one of the concerns many manufacturers have when they work with a vendor like us, that too much of their own company's time gets tied up. And like, you know, everybody has bad experiences implementing ERP, where their experts get tied up, you know, so many hours a week for so many months, sometimes over a year. So given all that, what was your experience in terms of analytics implementation? How long did it take to do it? And what kind of time commitment was required from your team from various functions?
Yeah, it is terrifying. I mean, it's like when you know you need help, you could ask for help, but then you got to explain to somebody what you need help with. And by then, the fear is that I'm going to spend more time explaining what I need. I may as well just do it myself. But the reality is, we were already trying to do it ourselves, and we were really struggling. So that was a legitimate fear that we had. That, you know, we're going to spend even more time trying to explain this to somebody else, and then we've got costs on top of that. Now, our experience was. The implementation time took about 10 weeks. And a lot of that, I mean, it could have gone faster, but a lot of that was on us. And we have a third-party ERP partner that we're struggling with responsiveness from them and getting the data sent over to FactoryTwin. So once FactoryTwin was able to get the data in the correct format, like I said, implementation was about 10 weeks. It could have been quicker, you know, had it not been for the holdup from our external source. And then internally, calculated about 26 hours of meeting time on our end. And the feedback from my team in meeting with the FactoryTwin team was overwhelmingly positive. We didn't have those 26 hours weren't 6-7 of us meeting in a room every time for 26 hours. It was an hour with me, an hour with our quality manager, an hour with our technical director, an hour with our plant manager. And the cool thing was, in working with FactoryTwin, is we were able to explain things, and just FactoryTwin was able to understand what we were saying. Yeah, I've heard it said, I can explain it to you, but I can't understand it for you. And with FactoryTwin, we were able to just, hey, this is what we have, this is what we're doing. And FactoryTwin it just clicked. They have the data and knowledge as well as the manufacturing experience combined. It just made the implementation really smooth.
Well, thank you for that endorsement. I think it is interesting to note that when you say 26 hours, that's the sum total of man hours of all functions. So it's really not that onerous as some people make it out to be. And I think the reason we are able to do that simply is because we are not just software vendors, we understand operations. And so whether for manufacturers out there, when you're talking about analytics or any software tools, it's important, whether or not you engage with us is irrelevant, that you should be looking for both data science, computer science knowledge, as well as operational knowledge. Because otherwise, that's why you spend so much time with ERP vendors. That takes you hours every week for several months, right? For multiple companies, multiple functions. So that's a very big learning there. So given that the implementation phase was relatively, quick, I would say 10 weeks for the whole platform to be implemented, did you find, in terms of data cleansing, data gaps, were there many major discovery that you weren't aware of before you got into this?
Not a lot of major gaps in the data. The biggest thing that we have and we'll continue to struggle with is for us with operator performance, clocking in and out of jobs, and that's something that's just making the hardware available for our operators. But FactoryTwin's able to implement our ERP data as well as data from our HR timekeeping software, so we can see those gaps. Okay, this is how long an operator was clocked into a job. This is how long they actually worked. Okay, did they really only work 1 hour out of a 10-hour shift? No, probably not. There's something going on there, and that allows us to see accurately operator performance as it relates to standard times. But overall, I would say, I mean, our data was fairly clean. We've got some work to do in segmenting our data. For example, and I don't want to get into too much detail, but our job work centers, we never really had a need to separate the different work centers. If it's fabrication, it's fabrication. It all kind of charges the same. But if we want to know, okay, how are our standard times for one area of fabrication versus standard times for another area of fabrication, we've got to segment that data within our ERP system so that then FactoryTwin can segment the data.
Can you say a little bit about how your leadership style, how you encourage collaboration? Why was the culture change manageable as you went from the old way of doing business to data-driven way of doing business?
Yeah, it should be said about my leadership team at GeForce. I mean, a lot of very experienced folks, and with a lot of time at GeForce, and a lot of the frustrations that I have are common amongst the team. I mean, whether you're new to manufacturing or have been in manufacturing for a long time, the frustrations are clear. When everybody's experienced somebody leaving, and as Vivek said earlier, all that travel knowledge goes with them. That's a challenge. Everybody's experienced having to wait on somebody from coming back from being sick or whatever else in order to get their spreadsheet populated. So, when the frustrations are so common and widespread and shared, if a tool or a solution is presented, it's an easy sell. I'm not a sales guy. I'm responsible for business development. But when something makes sense, it just makes sense, and you don't have to sell something that just makes sense.
What benefits you've seen so far in the last few weeks, and what prompted you to opt for the next module of FactoryTwin?
Sure. Yeah, so the first implementation was the validator as well as the dashboards that we had asked for. And the biggest benefit immediately was, hey, these dashboards that we've been working on for months, we have them now. It's amazing. So that's the biggest. We're able to track daily production versus goals, whereas previously we're manually counting details. How many details did this line make? How many details did that line make? We've got whiteboards with dashes on them with how many parts people are making, and now it's in our dashboard. We can track operator performance versus standard time and really see, okay, do we have certain product lines that maybe the standard times are just out of whack and that just wasn't visible to us before, and maybe we're not charging appropriately for this work because, hey, we thought this operation was a 10-minute operation, but for the past 2 years it's taken 40 minutes per operation. And then we can see if an operator is improving, or maybe something's going on in their life that's making work difficult for them. So we're able to reward those that are, hey, we asked you to step up and you stepped up. We can see your productivity over time. In our operation, it's a lot about pace. pace and quality. So you can, I've said it before, I can write my name, and it could take me 10 minutes to write my name if I go slow enough, or I can write my name really fast. It's the same work, it's just a different pace. So, you know, keeping up that pace and being able to see how operators are performing, we can track how long it takes on average for somebody to get up to speed. I've been asked that ever since I started this job from, you know, our CEO and other folks, CFO. I want to hire somebody. How long does it take for them to get up to speed? 3 months? I don't know. I mean, just throw out a number. You know, you're looking for a number, I'll give you one. But is it backed with data? No, absolutely not. I pulled it, you know, right out of my back pocket there. But feeling confident in, you know, answers to questions and decisions that we're making. That's kind of the immediate. And then another big deal. One of the things we struggled with was errors in our sales orders. So we have purchase orders from our customer. We enter those purchase orders as sales orders in our ERP system. But if there's a discrepancy, or if there's a purchase order change and a date change that's not caught as a sales order, we end up making a part early, late, wrong quantity. All those things are expensive, and if it makes it to the customer at the wrong time or the wrong quantity or whatever else, then that costs us and it costs them. And we don't want that.
Cool. And I'm starting to see that your factory is starting to look proactively towards the future with the new sales and operations planning module you just implemented to use all the past data to predict the future. What are your expectations from that? And if you have looked at that tool yet, and what are your thoughts on that?
Synopia module, the few things that I know we'll use for sure, and I'm sure we'll learn more as we get deeper into it. At first is headcount management. We're fortunate in that we have purchase orders out through 2027, 2028. So we have a lot of visibility, and knowing that there's change in that as well, but we have a lot of visibility on what our future demand is going to be, but how does that affect headcount? When do we need to hire? As I said earlier, we're able to see, you know, on average, how long it takes somebody to get up to speed by planning out that headcount over time for budgeting season and planning hiring events, all those things, as well as capacity planning. Are we going to run out of space? Do we have enough lines to do the work for the future demand? Aerospace industry, if you've been around it, can be cyclical. So you have to be prepared when things get busy. If you're not keeping up, somebody else will. And if we lose business, you know, it's bad for me, but it's bad for our community as well, because we are, you know, kind of an integral part to our community in the Southeast Georgia area. We're looking to increase our impact. We want to help more people, and if we make bad decisions, we can help less people, and that's no good for me, and it's no good for anybody else. But a lot of these things is things that you know, like I said, anybody can make a good decision, but being able to back those decisions up with data and then verify their effectiveness after the fact, that's what we're looking for. Synopia module,
Thank you, Eric. Thanks for taking the time to join us. I will just repeat something you said. If you're not doing it, someone else will. So that's what brings to our topic, which is harnessing data for competitive advantage.